Yes, guys, how are we all? Right. I'm back with a little tactical breakdown of the I've got some little moments in the game I want to go through. Some moments that maybe were criticised, some moments that didn't go down well, and I want to talk about how they was effective and how they actually helped the team. So let's get into it. Obviously, we're going to look at the press first, right? The press. What I call, I don't know what it is. Is it a high block? I don't know. But what we did was, and as you could see here, so basically both teams played a 4-2-3-1 formation, so it was man for man basically, which allowed us to be able to do this, and you'll see why. So as you can see, whenever their goalkeeper or centre-backs had the ball, this is 17 seconds in the game, it was very obvious what we were trying to do. Their goalkeeper had the ball, and their ball-playing defenders, I think Dunk's out here and Webster's there. Now, what Brighton like to do is when they get it in the back, they will happily hold on to the ball for as long as possible. They'll do that against any team. That's how they play. What their triggers are is playing through the three in midfield, who is Gross, Caicedo, and McAllister, who's in the 10, who's behind Tyler. Those three are really, really good at interplaying. They're really good, really technical. And then what they will do is they will quickly look to stretch out wide because their wingers hold their width extremely well. They are always wide, always play wide. But getting to them wingers usually comes from central areas. So the idea of this system was to nullify that. So the way in which they got it forward was a way in which we could then, it made it more 50-50. So for example, a long ball high, or try and pass a ball through all this. And those is what we tried to grasp. And I'll show you in these screenshots where it comes from. So here's the keeper on the ball. As you can see, he starts to step forward. He puts his foot on it. Bamford slightly edges, almost setting a trap in here. You see Bamford's body position? He's almost setting a trap for Gross to receive it. Then Rocker will pounce. But as the goalkeeper hesitates, Bamford then cuts this off, cuts the centre back off. Obviously tight here. Tyler's ready for anything in this area. Somerville's watching out wide. There we go. Then what we do is this. Boom. One way. There's only one way, and that's the fullback, or Dunk, who has drifted really out wide. We've cut off all this area. Nothing is coming through to McAllister. These two central midfielders, and look how far they are willing to drop to receive the ball, which proves how important they are in this system. They're not stood up here. They want the ball now. They want to pass it around and play in these areas. These areas here. See where the gaps are in behind. But we did not let them do that for a lot of the game. So Dunk receives the ball and he cuts it right across to Webster. The reaction to that is the same. Look, as you can see here, the only real option on is the width, who is Veltman, who's come, has gone quite high up. Brighton don't like to do that. They like to play through the middle with these good players here, McAllister, Gross, and Caicedo, who, by the way, look how deep they still are. They come back in. Again, none of this. And what this creates for McAllister here is space. However, getting that ball, because you've got Tyler scanning and you've got Rocker scanning here, getting that ball to him is extremely difficult. He's not getting it and he's not getting it. The only option is Dunk or the ball over the top. Now, what we'll see develops is McAllister here is quite open. However, what we do is Cock, I imagine Javi Garcia saw this as a problem, so what he maybe suggested to Cock was to go man-to-man with him, as they've only got one at top, and their wingers play wide, so there'll be no issue in behind in that sense. So Cock got closer to McAllister, and he literally shadowed him everywhere. As you can see, there he is now, on him, close. Again, the ball came across to Dunk. Nothing in here. And as a team that loves to build up with Caicedo and Gross, we know how good they are on the ball. Not allowing them to have it, it's very simple, but it's very effective if you do it right. And we saw for a lot of the game, it was very effective. It just was. It worked really well. And the frustration from the crowd, I don't know whether it was with Bournemouth stood on the ball, not passing it, or the fact we're not running and pressing. If we'd have run and pressed, they would have absolutely killed us. I promise they would have killed us. They want you. They're a press-resistant team. They rely on a press. Because more and more teams do the press. They want you to press. They will tear you apart. They are very good at press. Again, back to the keeper, as you can see now. And this is what happened. So Brendan pressed in this area. And as you can just see, when it went back to the keeper, maybe that little reaction to get tighter didn't quite work. So you can see Brendan's pressed and it's left this space. There's no space behind these two, but there's space in front to receive it. And if we go back one, here, there is no space in front or behind. Not just behind, in front. Because these guys can receive it in front and just pass it out. They don't need, they need an inch. Don't give them an inch. When we do this press now, we're a little bit off it, and these do have space to play in front. So what did they do? The ball went into Gross, who played it out to Dunk. That's it, look. All he needs is that little bit of space, Dunk, and then you're starting to see the gaps. Yeah. Now these gaps are a bit bigger, and it's a bit more difficult for us to stop it. Dunk plays a ball into there. McAllister, as you can see, we're caught tight. Yeah. Because there's no threat in here because the width they hold. McAllister receives the ball, though, because of that. And you can see now they've got out of it. However, and this is what I quite like, the reaction. Again, it's man for man. Look, to stop their space, you have to go man for man. If you try and move a guy on, they're still going to have that space to run into. But if you just track him, you are always on him. And this is what we saw. And we know some of these players can do that. We did it on Bielsa. Especially with this Ferguson, who's their striker, who dropped deep to receive. Solly Marsh came inside. He stuck to his man. Cox stuck to McAllister, and they did not have a lot of the ball, and we stopped that service. So even when this was broken, the second phase was to stick to your men, and also look at the numbers here. Not allow any of this space. Look, they try to build up. No real threat. So the actual reaction to when we did get beat by the little bit reactionary is good. And this is what I liked. It's frustrating, but as a coach, as someone who has been part of something similar to this, it's good to see. When a team can't break you down, believe me, it's satisfying. And again, we'll see it. There's the midfield, look. Nothing in front. And that is vital. It's all right saying nothing in behind, but nothing in front. Because these guys will play in front. Well, play in front. Again, look. Caicedo there, he's almost saying, go somewhere else. I don't know. There's nothing for me to do, is what he's saying. Look, you don't have a clue. Dunk stood still, but they're all right. They're patient. But look at their players. The game's stopped. Guys, you're playing a team this good. That's all right. That's them rethinking what they need to do. Believe me, this is good coaching. This was a good way to do this. Ball goes in. We set that trap. Straight away, boom, win it back. And it worked. Frustration. They want to play through midfield. They wanted to do it, and it took them a while to adapt to how they could beat that. Look, all it came from here. Inside in the ball. Ferguson's thought, I want to take a risk. Caicedo's thought, go on then. Tyler recognises that this is the option he's going to try to go for. He's got that little bit in front of him here to pass it out there. Tyler knows that. Doesn't let it happen. We win the second ball. We're on the attack. Bamford comes into this half space. Tyler's in a position to receive. Somerville's on his bike. Harrison's on his bike in these areas, which they've committed men forward because of the previous frustration. You see the spaces in behind? You can win it back. Get in these spaces. You're laughing. However, this is down to our quality, right? We got in these spaces and we lost the ball. Right. We had something, but yeah, I think Harrison lost it. But let's go to the next bit. And again, this is what? Is this straight after? A minute after. And I've not done the entire game because I could literally, guys, I could be here for hours. But these were repeated. And this is just a small part of the game. I'm not analysing the entire game. I'm doing a small part of the tactic. Now, look. Same again. Ferguson now is thinking, what can we do? Cock and McAllister sorted that out. Ferguson, getting the ball to him in there is difficult. These guys want to play to Gross and Caicedo or McAllister. We're not allowing them. This is good. This is what we need to be against good sides like Brighton, who are a very good side. Let's not forget that. So what did they think? If he's not been pressed, he's thinking, right, he's come out of position. There's potential on the wing for a 1v1 if you can get the right ball over. Look, and the thing about this is, you can criticise Ayling all day. But if your winger is extremely wide, and I mean hugging the touchline, which he was, you can't see, but you can see the other side. It's the same this side. He's not even on the picture. It's so difficult to judge a long ball over your head, because how can you defend it? Look, you could be narrower and allow that ball, then advance when he touches it and force him out wide. You could do that. But that narrowness is what can cost you as well, because giving a guy like Matoma space, it's just allowing him to run at a defender. It's just not what you want to do, right? So they spotted that. The first one, fine. Ayling deals with. This one, though, interestingly, the first ball they did over the top from this position, look, there's nothing in here, so we've made them go long over. Now, as you can see, Ayling is ready for it. Luke is fine with that. This ball is more central. The next ones where the alarm bells start ringing are wider. See that now. Again, this is what happens. Dunk tries it from deeper. As you can see, nothing's happening here. You can't see, but Rocker is just off picture. And if this ball came to Ferguson, Bamford will cut anything in front. We made them play this long ball. The second time, you can't see the ball is literally here in front of Matoma. Again, Ayling is ready for that. Luke Ayling is with him. But it's difficult to judge. You can't judge a long ball over your head. There's nothing you can really do about it unless you stand here in the first place and just forget offside. It's difficult. If they're targeting that, it's difficult to deal with. It just is. You say he was too high up. He wasn't. Look how deep he is here. He's still more or less in line with Matoma. It's difficult. It's margins. And look, Ayling gets it, but obviously he slides out. But that position's fine because you've got the margins right. And again, we've seen this repeated now. This is a bit higher up. You can see here, Brendan Aronson leading that charge. Great. We win the ball back. Dunk passes to Espen. What's his name? You know what I mean, yeah. They're left back, Espen something. Somerville sets that trap. Boom. Win the ball back. Now you're looking at the half spaces. Bamford's in. Areas to play. Create a chance in this area. This is now the position where we have to be more clinical. We have to now develop that shape and expand it into attacking transitions, because the last balls again were not good. They were wasteful. This is the problem. This is what you can't allow. Look, McAllister is what McAllister has done. It's actually quite smart. Is he's just drifted a little wider, which then has potentially made Tyler Adams move further back in that half space to allow nothing in front of him. Right. Obviously, Somerville's occupied by the winger. As you can see, the width is there. And Matoma on this side, the width is there. And all that happened is these two got confused as to who should be in front of Caicedo. The ball's gone through to Caicedo. You're in trouble. And if we'd have pressed, this is what would be the picture constantly. Bypass that press with a little ball, because they know exactly where they're going when they get it. No hesitation. Straight out. Look how wide they are. But again, once they get it in this area, they're looking for overloads or running in behind, in between lines, as you can see with Gross here. They'll do this all day, and they'll get a ball in the box, and they'll walk it in the net if they have to, because they're that good. What we did, and I think they recognise this, we packed the box really well. Wober's ready for any cutback, Cox ready for anything in here, Ayling's on the back there, you got Adams scanning. Good. Again, this was a little pass in here. Again, bypassing that, nothing in front of them. So what they've done is McAllister's come really short as well. See the space here. Little flick round. And this is what I mean when I went back to the previous screenshots. You have to have someone in front, and there wasn't in this situation. It's a little bit too loose. And boom, that's where they get in positions, right? I haven't screenshot that. But ball flick to him, and suddenly we've got the width again, and that's pretty trouble. So the tactic worked really well. Frustrating as it might be, it worked really well. Now we'll move on to Bamford for a little bit. Bit of criticism he got. But what Bamford did really well was when he dropped in this space, he recognised that Dunk here was actually following him. Now, what happens now, there's nothing behind him. The full-back's there, the centre-back's there, Dunk's there. What he did well was he built the play up. He built the ball. Little pass out. You can't see it behind the thing here. Little pass out to Luke Ayling there. Dunks out of position. The space is in behind. What did we do? Boom. You can get the area in this position. Look, the ball wasn't great and the touch wasn't great. But once or twice, Aronson found himself in these little pockets from the space that Bamford created through movement, holding the ball up well and laying it off. I could have made it big screen the full time. I could have made it full screen the full time. Another situation here. Ball down the line from Ayling. Somerville flick into Adams into the area. You can see Bamford just coming into the picture here. Good position. Drags the centre-back out. Somerville is on his bike looking for the ball beyond in these areas. It's a bad pass from Adams which goes over here. But look, if we can use this type of movement, the centre-back's following you, Somerville's going. That's got to be in there. Aronson's running off the shoulder of the centre-back to run into that wide space. We've got to exploit that. Yeah, what happened from this position now was... So the ball over the top at this point wasn't working. The midfield was nowhere. Wasn't being allowed to receive it in midfield. So what they actually tried was the risk playing through our midfield into these areas. So you can see Dunks on the ball here, and he attempts to pass right through. Let's see how we dealt with it. Boom. It's gone through, right? But Boba is so tight on his man, and this is where you've got to draw a line and try not to foul them. But what he does is he stays strong. We win the ball. We've got 3 men around the ball here. There's a man covering. I think Cox around here. Cox here, sorry. We've got Aylings around here. We've got men covering this position. Look, all our guys are in front of their guys. So if there's a second ball here, which there was, we will win it. And that's what we were forcing them to do. Now, this is another time where they played that ball over. And I think they lost it. They won it back. The left back passed it to Caicedo here, who, as you can now see, is the deepest man. And we were not quite set. So what he does now is he plays the ball over. McAllister makes a wide run, and I'll show you what happens. So McAllister wins the ball. The ball comes over. Luke follows him. That's fine. But the problem now is this. Cox can't really, because McAllister's come really wide, they've identified, well, Cox's not going to follow him. But Ayling has took that responsibility, meaning he has 2 men. Somerville, in fairness, in that position from where the ball was kicked, is not going to be getting back there that quick. I know there's a thing going around about Somerville that is a bit lazy, but that is very difficult. You're going to be, the ball's gone to the side of the pitch in about 3 seconds. When we have the ball, then lost it, it's hard to then get back. You're not going to do that. So from this position here, it's a problem. But that came from losing the ball in a transitional area, not being set, not knowing how to deal with this situation. And then next chance actually comes from this position here, where we've actually won the ball back in the midfield again. But what we've done is the forward movement isn't good enough. There's no obvious option. Jack gets the ball, right? And in fairness to Jack loses the ball. And in fairness to him, there wasn't many options. There was Somerville out there he should probably pass it to, but he's been surrounded. Now this is where we're in trouble, because Somerville, by the way, is absolutely shot up here, wanting to retrieve the ball. So as you can see, there's going to be space. There's going to be a 2v1 out here again. They go that side. You can see we're a bit stretched. And as you can see, this is what Brentford want. Keep that width. They'll do this. They'll play this any day of the week. They love this pass. The midfield breaks the line, gets in between the centre-back and central midfielder. This one, again, in a situation where it just slightly broke down with this area. Look, there you can see the 3. But what happened is Caicedo has dropped really deep. And Gross is kind of just making a later run. As opposed to stood there. He started up further up, and he's kind of making that late run. It's Brighton, they're a smart team. They'll figure you out. Now they spot the gap. McAllister gives himself too much space between Cock here, and there it is. The ball in front. They'll play in front here. And all it is a ball out here and a ball into this space. You see, a little pass, a little triangle, and you're in trouble. That's the importance of cutting out the first pass. And when it didn't work, it was worrying. But this is what I mean. If we'd have pressed, that would have been constant. And like I keep saying, guys, their big chances, the ones I can think of, was when Warburg tried to pass out from the back into midfield. They intercepted it and they went forward. There was the one where Rocker tried a ball across, which is also intercepted. Then they drove forward. And then there was the one a minute ago where Somerville had the ball in midfield, got dispossessed too easily. Luke Ayling had bombed on for a ball. We were so out of position to lose the ball in that position. He's lost it too easily. They've got a ball in. McAllister's pulled out wide. He's crossed the ball in. Probably should have scored. Their chance in the first half, we'll look at the goal, came from that position. When we got our shape right, they didn't have anything apart from the one ball over the top, which when you get right will work. Just quickly as well, just while I run it, this is another situation they tried to do it. They tried to do the ball over the top for the 4th time now, and the result was this. Ayling's done well. He's won the ball. See, if the ball's not perfect, we'll deal with it. And Ayling dealt with it. This is 4 times now, and he's dealt with it 4 times. The times where Ayling got beat before this was when McAllister came out wide and created 2v1s, and he had to figure out whether he goes or stays. It's not a 1v1 necessarily. So the criticism for me is unfair. So this is now the goal. This is the start of the goal. As you can see, they've had it out. And yeah, the shape is still there. But I think what they get, again, Gross now, as you can see, Pascal Gross is just sitting deeper. He's making more space in front of him to play with these guys. Before he'd be up here, but Veltman's actually come in, which created, which then Marsh is going to take Firpo out, which then obviously leaves more space for Gross in here to do whatever he does. And this is where it starts. It's a very simple ball then. He's took him out, like I said, and then that's a 1v1. He's man-marking him. He's man-marking him. So the ball has just literally come through this gap. He knows he's going to do it. He's anticipated it. He's going to get there first. This is where it starts to build. And that simple movement. And then Brighton are a good side, guys. Yeah, he gets the ball. He chops him. And you can see now, Ayling is looking here over his shoulder for where Matoma is. He has got to do better for me in this position when the ball comes in the box. Ball comes in. Look, guys. He's totally outjumped him. You've got to challenge. Now, but again, on this, the issue for me here is also Wober. Like, I think in this position, the ball's here, he's heading it. I think Wober thinks he's going to try head it in this corner. So I think he's gone on the line to protect that. But what Matoma does, he doesn't do that, does he? He heads it across to this guy who is totally free because Wober's gone onto the line, anticipating that Matoma is probably going to try head it on into the top corner. Result. Yeah. See? That's what I think anyway, because I think he anticipated Elam were going to cover this from the header, but then this space, so he's gone on the line. I get it. But I think you just got to go for the spare man who's got free. This is bad. So that's where the goals come from. That's how the goal was created, in my opinion. And again, this is a big chance for them. So we get the ball in this position. We've got the ball, right? We've got the ball. The ball to Ayling is not good. Matoma's already on. He's giving too much space, and then you're starting to see it build. He plays it across, and look at the gaps. Ayling's obviously tucked into Matoma. Somerville's tracking back for his fullback. But the space, again, is McAllister. Robin Koch's not going to stand out there with him. If he's man-marking him, he's not going to stand out there when the ball's in this position. So that's a spare man. Yeah, look. Somerville's he's got to follow his man. He's got to follow his man in this position. Ayling can't follow him because he's just running in to go. Somerville has to follow his man from back where we showed before. He's got to do it. Ball in there, ball across. We do well, but this is my point. Their chances came from us being sloppy. We've got to pattern that up quick as well. Again, and this is the final bit, the shape. This is how it worked. It was good. Nothing came through this guy. When they had the ball, we looked like we could do more because they did not really know how to build through when we got it right. Again, this is the one time in the first half where Matoma actually beats Ayling over the top. It's a good ball. There's 4 times he's not and it's failed, but the 5th time it worked. Look, like I said, he's quicker than you. It's difficult. Look, you can see you've got to sit deeper. You can't when you're playing a certain system. When you're relying on, especially the central defenders, being tight to their men, sitting deeper creates more depth, which Brighton want because there's more space to play if there's more depth. And we did not want to create depth. And he's actually done all right in this half, Ayling, for me. Terrible shot by Matoma, but there's this thing going around that he got beat and beat and beat. He didn't. He actually didn't. Maybe once or twice. But he's actually reacted quite well in those positions, in my opinion. Yeah, and look, this is probably the one time where the position of Ayling's probably too high up. This was it, though. So I spent... his name. Their fullback gets the ball. He's got a bit too much time to play and look for that ball in behind, which Brighton have identified as an option now. And that's what they do. And you can see Eiling's halfway. He's kind of left Matoma behind him. Probably not expecting the ball from the fullback because they didn't do it very often, which is fair enough, minimising the depth. But it's a decent ball and they got in behind from it. Yeah, look, ended up in this position. He's get it across to McAllister in here. And he probably should have scored. That's the one real time he's actually been fully beaten for me in this game. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, I just want to talk about the shape. I could talk about individual players. I could do anything, But the problem, I have just time, lads. Honestly, just time. I ain't got time. But this is just a quick kind of draft idea of how the shape could be effective, how we let it beat us, how Bamford could be more effective in this system, and how actually doing this shape is quite good and how it can actually help us get results. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate support. Please leave a like because these ones take ages. They'll take ages, but 50 minutes to watch some football and then try to figure out points and then do the screenshots. Yeah, I appreciate support. Please leave a like if you liked it. Let me know. What else? What other things you want me to do? But again, like I said, once I've done uni work, I can crack on with it, but it's killing me. I appreciate support. Peace.